Hello, it's Fran from psychicandenergywork.com.au, and this is the second video relating to my observations about 2025. This video looks at the birth number 2025, which reduces to 9. Now, in truth, my first video in this little series also did that. So feel free to get across that, as well as what's written on the website, psychicandenergywork.com.au, to really understand the what that this year is going to ask us all to learn about, discover, step into, exemplify, and channel for each other's benefit and our own, all over again to a whole new level. One of the things I'm finding really interesting about this year's chart is the astrological story that is also being told at this same time. To the degree that you've gotten across any of that, you'd be well aware that there were some major planetary shifts going on towards the end of last year, shifts that talked about the movement from autocratic and patriarchal, and I don't mean that as a genderist word, top down, I'm in charge, all of those sorts of dynamics, and the movement of living, of being, of decision-making, even of control and power balance, the movement from the elite or the select few, the exclusive regime, through to the people, through to the collective in a very, very genuine sense. What's really interesting is, again, 2025, which reduces to 9, also speaks of that. Partly because, and this isn't on the website, so you're really, really lucky here, there's a little extra, but 9 can be also flagged not only as closure, but also the development of compassion. You could say that 9 is, whilst it is, yes, the final point in the 9-year cycle, it is also that moment where we've spent all of the energy that we need to for this round. What I mean by that is that, of course, so much of a human being's focus, especially in recent years, can be on coping, on achieving, on getting things done. And of course, that's a part of human life. But the 9-year, the 9 phase, whether it's a year, it's an hour, it's a quarter, whatever it is, the 9 phase is such that the self is helped to close off on something with a little bit more room left over. So on one level, as I mentioned in the first video about 2025, 9 is very much about that moment where not only I do close off, but I actually know I've closed off. And therefore it's the moment that's the seconds just before that where, you know what, I've closed off and I'm feeling really great about that. Not only am I feeling great, but you know what, I can now get on with the rest of my day. Yeah, I can get on and do something more than just think of me, my own, my I, me, my as a path or anything else. So 9 is the development of compassion. It's the space where compassion often breeds best because, we've spent all the energy we need to. 9 can be the development of compassion in oneself, because all numbers flag what the individual, the being that they relate to, is about to learn and master in their own right. But it can also be the birth and solidification of compassion as an understanding, as a wisdom, and even as an offering in the world around us. So all numbers signal how the individual, how the being that they relate to is about to help the outside world, not just him, her, or itself. 9 says that the development of compassion is on the cards this year. And again, that's really interesting because in a sense, 2024 helped us all get to the point, or at least in part, get to the point where we understood a little bit more of why we're here, what we need to run with, and what we need to drop or release. So in a sense, 2025 is a period that helps us begin to utilize the understandings that emerged by 31st of December 2024. If we couple that again with the 5 in the lineup for this year, 2025-9, what we're also being, shall we say, flagged is the importance of the use of breath. The importance, and here again, the first video in this series touched on this, so revisit it. But of course, to demonstrate compassion in action, often we can need to slow ourselves down. Often that mantra of just breathe, use your breath right now. Use your breath so as to detach from the immediate. And that's not meant as withdraw from the immediate or don't interact with it. But on the energetic level, what keeps us in egoic self is our inability to disengage from what we're sensing, what's coming at us or even from within us in that second, long enough to mentor it, to become all the spiritual adult that it could be. So a 5 period together with a 9, 2025 and 9, can encourage people to, again, slow down. It can encourage people to, you know what, you've learned a whole lot over these last how many years. Now's the time to use it. Now's the time to integrate with it. Now's the time to become it on a constant level, or at least a more constant level than you were before. So as I alluded to in the last video from a different angle, 2025 as a birth number, which reduces to 9, is talking about how, or the what that we're going to achieve as a state, as a lesson, as a dare, and as an example over the course of these next 12 months. Now that 0 in 2025 and the fact that we have 0 in the MO this year, which is again 1034, and if you need, go through to the website Psychic and Energy Work, to the observations about this year where you'll see those zeros and maybe able to place what I'm saying a little bit better. 0 can denote the need to connect. In one sense, 0 is the divine. It is source, the universe, whatever you call the biggest picture, the purest of guidance, the most holistic of view. 0 is very much that level of energy being, whatever you call it. It is that level of energy presenting in a way that helps the human being know that it's real, it's there, and it will help if I, whoever the I is, actually lets it. So in a sense, 0 is the spiritual connection. It is the call to use space, to use silence, to use time out, to align in the right vibes, and therefore quality check wherever we're at, so as to then interact with where we're at in all the right ways, long-term, spiritual, holistic good. In one sense, and I'd argue that this is also what 2024 was about. In one sense, this year is here to help people really understand that spiritual connection is no longer the option it used to be. Now, that's a bit of a cliche, I'd argue. You know, lots of people have been talking about this for years. And yet, don't be surprised if this year the universe somehow highlights to you what you were already sensing last year, but maybe not getting the time to achieve or nurture well enough. Because again, if we acknowledge it, 2024 was an incredibly full time. For many people, they would just be getting to the point where they could relax and put their feet up for a couple of seconds, and all of a sudden another wave of fullness, unavoidable, would present. This year, we don't have that dynamic as much. We have different stretching and active dynamics for sure, including that 5. But you see, this year, because we've got that 9 energy, the focus comes off the spin and the fullness that 2024-8 brought. And in itself, that means that, I don't know how to say it, the chance for more time out, the need for more time out as a lesson, as an unavoidable strategy. So the good news is that for all of us, it's more than possible that this year is going to actually help us do what we needed to do all last year, but quite possibly were prevented on a reasonably regular basis from achieving, from nurturing, from experiencing. And what do I mean by that? Balance. Harmony as a felt state. Zero as a nothingness that is peace, that is wisdom, that is big picture, that is spiritual connection. So don't be surprised if this year helps you come into these whats, which is, after all, the birth number. It's what the birth number 2025, which reduces to 9 flags. The what we're here to learn about now. The what we're going to have to process and get the hang of on a spiritual level, like it or not. And the what that through these dynamics, we're going to actually start to channel more as masters, even if that's only in our lunchbox, only in our cupboard, only in our house. Yeah. We'll channel as masters in a way that then benefits all of our reality to the next degree in all the ways that we know on a felt level is required. All the very best. Feel free to flick back through to the website now, psychicandenergywork.com.au, to the observations about 2025 or this year, to read the intro for the next video, the third, in this installment of 4 about this year. Travel well, enjoy, let me know how this comes across.